So, yesterday we talked about Queen Elizabeth I and her reign as the Queen of England. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about some things that happened during her reign. Okay, so we're going to look at chapter 2. Um, this is called Britannia Rules the Waves. And we're going to talk today about Sir Walter Raleigh. Now, think for just a second about where you've heard that name before. Okay, so he was who we learned about in our last unit because he was the first person to circumnavigate the globe. Remember what that means? Go all the way around the globe. Okay, so depending on your point of view, Sir Francis Drake was either a hero or a pirate. To English people and to Queen Elizabeth, he was brave and skilled sea commander. To the Spanish, however, Drake was a pirate. And so, guys, as we read chapter 2, I want you to think about this, okay? And I'm going to ask you this again at the end. What might the Catholics in England have chosen? Why might they have chosen to be loyal to their Protestant queen rather than support King Philip of Spain? I want you to think about that as we continue reading. During the late 1500s, while Elizabeth I was on the throne, the Spanish were building a great empire. Spanish galleons, which are a big ship, a large sailing ship that's used kind of for war or for trade, carried gold, silver, precious stones, expensive dyes, and sugars across the ocean from colonies to the Americas. Sir Francis Drake and other English sailors attacked Spanish ships and grabbed some of their riches for themselves. The Spanish, here's a picture, I'm sorry, of some of the ships, what they might look like. The Spanish considered Francis Drake a thief, but a Spanish nobleman whose ship Drake attacked described him as a great navigator and commander. The same nobleman commented on how well Drake treated his fellow sailors, as well as how much they respected him. Queen Elizabeth I also admired him and showered him with gifts. Golden night. Francis Drake left home for the voyage of his life in 1577, a trip around the world. He sailed down the west coast of Africa and across the Atlantic Ocean around the Americas. He took every opportunity to attack Spanish and Portuguese ships and to seize their riches. By the time Drake returned to England 3 years later, the Spanish ambassador to London called him the master thief of the unknown world. The following year, however, Queen Elizabeth I dubbed him our Golden Knight, and he became Sir Francis Drake. And there again, dubbed means to make someone a knight. To honor their queen and to complete with Spain's mastery of the seas, Englishmen such as Drake explored the world in search of riches. Expeditions set up to establish trade routes across the Pacific Ocean. Walter Raleigh, another one of Elizabeth's favorites, tried to start a colony in the Americas, the first Roanoke colony. Now, we talked about that, guys, in our last unit. On an island off the coast of North Carolina. Did not last. Most of the colonists returned home in a few months. A second group disappeared a short while later. Decades would come to pass before the English succeeded in making a permanent colony in North America. So from reading this, guys, we definitely know that Sir Francis Drake, did not settle a colony in North America. Armada. Even though their colonies had not succeeded, the English still annoyed the Spanish. Spain had claimed North America as its own. It had colonies in Mexico and in the areas of the United States now known as Florida, California, New Mexico, Texas, and Arizona. In addition to England's colonizing efforts, Drake and other Englishmen continued to attack Spanish ships and seize their treasure. There were more than these things, however, behind the tension between the two countries. Just before Queen Elizabeth I had Mary Queen of Scots executed, Mary had renamed the Spanish King Philip II as successor of the throne. Remember that unlike Elizabeth, Mary and Philip were both Catholic. The Pope later offered King Philip $1,000,000 of gold if he could conquer England. Okay, guys, I want you to finish reading about the Invisible Armada. And as you read, I want you to think about why the Pope might have backed Philip's plan to invade England. Why might he have backed that? Why do you think that the Pope might have backed Philip's plan? Maybe he wanted to see England return to Catholicism. Maybe that was kind of his thoughts. Okay, now we're going to finish our reading about Britannia. Prayer and Thanksgiving. During Elizabeth's reign, Spain was the greatest sea power in the world. Many English people were truly terrified that Spain would conquer England and make it a Catholic country once again. King Philip of Spain had counted on England's Catholics to rise against their queen and to aid his invasion. Instead, the English Catholics stayed loyal to their own government. This gives us some idea of how much progress Queen Elizabeth I had made in healing the religious conflicts in her kingdom. Nonetheless, many people in England used the conflict with Spain as a reason to distrust Catholics. In November 1588, Elizabeth declared a day of thanksgiving. Everyone was urged to go to church, just as Elizabeth did herself. She thanked God and asked her people to do the same. All right, guys, I want you to think about what we read, and I've got a question for you to answer in your Google Classroom about this chapter. You might have to go back and look. Why did the Catholics in England, why might they have chosen to be loyal to their Protestant queen rather than supporting King Philip of Spain? Think about that question, okay?